Hi, it's Katrina! From ancient sea monsters to winged giants roaming the land, here are 9 terrifying and unusual prehistoric creatures. Number 9. Dunkleosteus. Long before the age of the dinosaurs, and even before gigantic sharks roamed the seas, there was the Dunkleosteus. This fish was one of the last arthrodires, which meant that they had thick bony plates covering their skull. This fish was so strong it may have had a bite that was more powerful than anything else on Earth, both before or since. Dunkleosteus could reach about 6 meters long, and they were pretty creepy. They didn't have actual teeth, but the bony plates on their head would come down and end in sharpened fangs, almost as if it were all part of the same giant helmet. Michael Ryan from the Cleveland Museum of Natural History says that the fangs would scrape together, continuously sharpening each other. They are so shiny and sharp, you can almost see your own reflection. As the fish matured, the armor/fangs would get stronger and more powerful, so it would eat tougher things. The older ones could easily crunch down on other armored sea creatures. Its jaws were estimated to snap shut with about 8,000 pounds of bite force per square inch. However, that is not the limit to its power, for that is just the measurement that they used to figure out the power of the tip of its tooth. Its full mouth strength is unknown, but guessed at around 1,600 pounds. Great white shark's PSI is about half of the Dunkleosteus at about 4,000, although it hasn't been officially recorded yet. The strongest recorded PSI of any animal around today is the saltwater crocodile at about 3,700 PSI. Dunkleosteus could also open its mouth so quickly it would create a vacuum and suck up anything near it. Even though it was a slow swimmer, as long as it was close enough to something, no problem. The Dunkleosteus were the apex predators of their time and had no problem eating each other either. It's believed that they were wiped out by the Hindenburg event, when oxygen levels in the ocean dropped dramatically, making it almost impossible for this monster to survive. Number 8. Liopleurodon. The Liopleurodon was a giant marine reptile, but there is a big debate between scientists whether this massive creature was only 20 feet or actually 50 feet, if not longer. The BBC series Walking with Dinosaurs used certain evidence to depict it as 80+ feet long, though many have discredited this series because the findings were based on fragmentary evidence. But one thing that all scientists are able to agree on is that the Liopleurodon had some pretty sharp and terrifying pointy teeth. This is based on 3 teeth that were excavated from France in 1873. As you may have guessed, this big guy was a hunter, and its rows of needle teeth were perfect for attacking crocodiles, giant fish, ichthyosaurs, and more. They were known as pliosaurs, which were a family with long heads, short necks, and long flippers that looked like paddles. Scientists now believe that the Liopleurodon may not have been the fastest creature in the ocean, but it was pretty quick and agile, and able to pull off some quick bursts of speed due to its uniquely shaped fins. Even though they were heavy, scientists were pretty surprised. They also had a very developed sense of smell and could locate its prey from very far away, making it a powerful predator. These fins made it a first-strike predator, which made it a terror when it lived during the late Jurassic period. Number 7. Gorgonopsia. These creatures, known as gorgon face, were some of the largest carnivores in the late Permian period, about 299 to 251 million years ago. With that name, honoring the Greek monsters, you know that they weren't cute. Based on fossil evidence, they are synapsids, tetrapods that included the ancestors of mammals, so many people thought they actually were. But their appearance has caused a bit of a debate as to whether they were reptiles who evolved mammalian qualities or whether they were mammals who had reptilian qualities because they had some sharp teeth and big canines. Despite us knowing what they looked like in terms of their body shape from its skeleton, we still know precious little about them. What we do know is that they ranged in size, but some were over 20 feet long and estimated to be about the size of a rhinoceros. Their skull alone is nearly half a meter long. Based on their long legs, they were probably really fast and agile, and some, such as Lycaenops, may have hunted in packs. This could have been quite the terror at the time, since most species had massive fangs and others had more than one set. So just imagine a pack of rhinoceros-sized creatures with gorgon faces, long legs, and fangs like a saber-toothed cat coming after you. Yikes! There were many species of Gorgonopsia, and each had their own unique attributes. In the Permian period of the ancient world, they were the apex predators. You may not realize it, but these creatures were the inspiration for the movie Primeval. Have you seen it? Do you recommend it? Let me know in the comments below. Number 6. Arthropleura. Insects may be small in the modern world, but 315 to 299 million years ago, the world was a different place. Arthropleura could reach between 6 feet to 8.5 feet in length, making it the largest land-dwelling bug in history. This invertebrate of the Carboniferous era is the ancestor to the modern millipede. It was actually a vegetarian, and scientists believe that it liked to feast on dead plant matter more than anything else. But honestly, who knows? It probably ate other insects and small vertebrates too, because let's face it, this enormous creature just ate whatever it came across. Despite their ginormous size, the ability to move their bodies and legs as one rhythmic unit has led scientists to believe that this was actually one very fast and agile insect, to the extent that it could use all of its legs to get out of a situation far quicker than any of the descendants can today. There are no complete fossils of the larger Arthropleura, and scientists are still trying to figure out how they used to breathe. It's most likely that at the time there was much more oxygen in the air, allowing arthropods to get much bigger and breathe more easily than they could now. Number 5. Aestemnosuchus. The thing that draws most people to the Aestemnosuchus is the shape of its skull. It is without a doubt one of the most interesting skull types in history. In fact, it's what helped it earn its name, because Aestemnosuchus means crowned crocodile in Greek. A group of them were found in Russia, and scientists discovered many skeletons of 2 different species together. The Aestemnosuchus existed 267 million years ago and stood out because of their distinctive rounded horns on their head. Unlike antlers on modern-day moose, for example, or horns found on other dinosaurs, they were made from a different kind of bone. Just as odd were that scientists discovered their teeth were very mismatched upon first inspection. They had large pointed teeth at the front of the mouth, but at the back they had small rounded teeth. The debate is now on to figure out if they were omnivores or what. Another unique thing about the Aestemnosuchus is that they may have been gigantothermic, which means that it could regulate its own temperature without being warm-blooded. Number 4. Helicoprion. Found 290 million years ago, the Helicoprion was a shark with a spiral-toothed jaw resembling a circular saw. It took a long time for scientists to figure out where these spiral teeth went or how they worked. Since shark skeletons are made of cartilage that doesn't preserve well, there were many drawings of scientists trying to guess. As you can see, some of them are pretty creative. Artist and amateur Helicoprion specialist Ray Troll reported to National Geographic in 2011 that the classic image of the whorl wasn't correct and that the Helicoprion would be getting a makeover. Researchers from Idaho State University used CAT scans and made 3D virtual reconstructions of the jaws of the animal, showing that the teeth were within the jaws, finally revealing what it looked like and how it ate. Also, it turns out that they are more similar to ratfish than to sharks. They used the whorl to create a rolling back and slicing mechanism, which was perfect for eating squid. The Helicoprion could reach 13 to 25 feet in length and weigh up to 1,000 pounds. Surprisingly, this fish was incredibly resilient because it was one of the lucky 10% of life on Earth to have withstood the Permian-Triassic extinction. Number 3. Terror birds. Once the Velociraptor and T-Rex were wiped out, the terror bird became the most terrifying predator of what is now South America about 62 million years ago, and stayed that way until about 2 million years ago. Their more scientific name was Phorus racids, but hey, a rose by any other name can still have a beak with enough power to cut a spinal cord in half. They ranged from 3 to 9 feet in height with feet like a Tyrannosaurus, large heavy heads, and their necks may have appeared short, but they were actually very long and flexible. This allowed them to deal massive damage to their foes when they struck, which they could do with impressive speed. One of their descendants was found in North America, leading to speculation that the terror birds could have come north in a great migration known as the Great American Interchange. In fact, it was also believed for a while that the terror birds might not have died because of natural factors or predators, but because of humans. However, fossil remains later proved this notion to be false by many, although some still contend that the terror birds existed longer than many are stating, including people in Uruguay who claim to have found more recent fossils of them from as little as 17,000 years ago. These guys were technically considered dinosaurs, but in a changed form. They had lots of large herbivores to choose from, and it is believed that it used its beak to stab and strike at its prey. Their skull and bones are fused into one and would have been a good hammer-like tool to tenderize their meat. Number 2. Sarcosuchus. Existing at around 112 million years ago, the Sarcosuchus is affectionately known as the super croc, and for very obvious reasons, not the least of which is that this mammoth creature is double the size of most modern crocodiles, coming in at about 40 feet long. There's a single problem with that nickname though. The Sarcosuchus technically wasn't a crocodile, although it is an indirect relative. The Sarcosuchus wasn't just long, it was heavy and could weigh up to 8 metric tons. The very first fossils of the creature were found in the Sahara Desert, which 100 million years ago was a lush tropical region. In 1964, a complete skull was discovered, revealing that it had a bulbous depression at the end of its snout. Yet it wasn't until the year 2000 when enough bones of the Sarcosuchus had been found to give scientists a better picture of what exactly they were looking at. It was entirely covered with armored plates, which probably affected its flexibility. However, because it was so large, it could have challenged and eaten a great deal of creatures. Number 1. Azhdarchid. The Azhdarchid pterosaur was a giant, long-necked animal that had a bill like a stork. These flying creatures lived around 140 million years ago. However, what separates the Azhdarchid from the rest of the pterosaur family is not their age or their appetite, it's their size and body proportions. Their bodies had really long legs, as well as long necks and beaks that were just as long. They stood as high as a large giraffe and were considered to be like vultures. It's believed they had claws of some kind on the tips of their wings, and they could use their legs and wings to walk on all fours. Measuring from their feet to the top of their head, the Azhdarchid measured in at around 20 feet tall, and their wingspans could easily be double that. In 2006, an enormous fossil was found in the Gobi Desert in Mongolia with a wingspan of about 36 feet. Team members from the Mongolian Academy of Sciences were amazed at its gigantic size. And there is one case in Bavaria that is said to have an Azhdarchid that could have a wingspan of 66 feet. And if true, that would make it the largest flying animal ever recorded. Thanks for watching! What did you think of these ancient creatures? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you soon. Bye!